How you doing, everyone? Another episode of the Get Loud podcast. Michael Jenkins, Fred Smoot. We're moving up.
Get loud. Hey, listen. They putting a couple dollars behind it.
We got a little... And by the way, this is Fred Smoot. If you saw him at the game on Monday night, this is not Santana Moss.
Yeah, hey, 3 people call me Santana Moss. And I sign autographs as Santana Moss. Hey, listen. If you ask me for something, I will give it to you.
Every now and then I would have this happen to me back in the day. I'd be on Metro, and some guy would go, Fox 5 weather.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yep, gonna be a hot one.
Hey,
Just keep on going.
Nobody lies more than the weatherman. Listen,
That's right.
Let me ask you this, Jinx. You're an intelligent man, scholar. What's the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny? They are the same exact thing.
That's a good question.
All right, so now the weatherman only gives you these 2 variables.
Yep.
70% of the time, he says these 2 words, and we be like, oh, he is right. It is partly cloudy, and it's partly sunny, too.
And they're always the most popular people. Always.
And they only have, like, the shortest segment in the news.
Yeah.
Like, I think we like them because besides a storm coming, a hurricane or something, they don't really give bad news. Like, the rest of the news anchors kind of ushers out bad news sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah.
And they'll say things like, "I mean, a little bit cooler out here on the east side, or out here, near the coast a little bit," and that makes you feel a little bit better.
And then we celebrate them like they actually made the weather. Like when they be like, oh, it's going to be 85 and sun, we be like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. Weather, man, he had nothing to do with it.
Well, we had great weather on Monday night.
We did.
Bengals, Commanders, and I will say, we keep talking about this, but it's the truth. The vibes, I mean, the fans, I had people stopping me. I know people stopping you, no matter what. And they just wanted to talk about how things felt different.
Just happy to be back. I happy to be back. And I'm so happy for Terry McLaurin. I'm so happy for John Allen that they get to see FedEx Field in my eyes, in the vision I saw it when I got here, when it was still rocking, when it was 90,000 strong, when the fan base was still injected, the energy was still there. So I feel good for him that they get to see the real version of Washington football, not the version they saw prior to this, because the fans wasn't hanging on like they are now. Yeah. And we got people jumping back on. That's funny. We got like 90-year-olds jumping back on the ship, and they carrying their 5-year-old grandchild jumping right back on the ship. So it just feels good. The energy is there. Win, lose, or draw. This fan base is showing people we here and we ain't going nowhere.
And I always say this too, and not to get too like utopian about it, but we live in a crazy society.
We do.
Everybody's divided, but man, when you have one thing that brings everyone together.
That's why I love sports. It's the ultimate unifier.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate us against you. It's the ultimate, like, that's why we say in the SEC, it's SEC and everybody else.
Right.
It's us against y'all. So I think that's what sports is. Sports is colorblind. Sports don't care about anything. And when something going on in your world, when the world ain't looking so good, sports can cheer you up. It has that effect on people. And I think it's been like that since the Roman times. That's why I took a trip to Rome. I went to the Coliseum to pay homage to the first athletes that gave Fred Smoot a chance to go play football.
So when you were out there and you experienced this, you see this team. Check me, because I read the comments and sometimes they're like, what's this guy doing here talking to Smoot? But most of the comments are, hey, I'm excited about this new era. There is something different. So check me. Am I getting too excited like everyone else?
Why wouldn't you? The new car smell makes everybody excited. You're talking about new owners, new quarterback, new era, new uniforms, new everything.
Yeah.
Like, we are positioning ourselves to tell everybody, here we go.
Right.
Here we are. I think it's more than just the newness, though. I think this fan base has just been waiting for
so
this
long.
moment to like express themselves. And I think that's what we did with the Ravens game. We kind of put people, and I know it's a preseason game, I'm not jumping off things, but we kind of put people on notice. Hey, Washington, we got a football team over here. If you're not paying attention to it, we got a football team over here that knows how to play the game. We got some coaches over here that knows how to coach the game. And we got an owner that knows how to own a team and know how to shake hands.
He knows
so you got to love it.
He
He presented that hand canvas. He presented it.
The hand canvas.
He presented it for like minutes. And I'm watching and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm seeing him just reach over there. And he didn't really grab it. He just kind of put his hand in his hand. And all you see in the background is Troy about to lose it. Troy can't even hold.
And the red eyes.
Yes. I see 2 red eyes and a smile back there. And it's Troy Aikman. Don't know what to do in that situation. I thought it was human. I thought it was regular. And I thought it showed him as I'm just like y'all.
Right. Because look, man, I am not the smoothest cat. And I do this all the time where I go in, I'm like, should I dap this guy up? Get some love. And you know how it is, like, you can get awkward and kind of do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like that was just That's just part of how it is. And I was like, I can relate to this guy.
Yeah, most definitely. I've been left hanging with high fives 100,000 times. I make a play on the field, throw that high five out. My teammate take off jogging. Hey, it's just one of them things where you shoot the jump and you keep on going.
Well, I got to give you some credit when we talk about what we saw on Monday night, because I know you talk about Emmanuel Forbes Jr. all the time.
Yeah.
But he balled. Had a great open field tackle. And you really did call this early on.
Yeah, I did. Most definitely. Hey, listen, they say he got some Fred Smoot in him, and I think it has a lot to do with not only that he took the same track to get to where I am from high school.
Yeah.
I literally went to Mississippi State, broke all my records. Broke all my records. Then he gets drafted by the team that drafted me.
Right.
And yes, he reminds the fans of me because when I got here, I was 174 pounds. And I tell people, Dale Green was 175 pounds when he got here. So we have a track record of drafting skinny corners that end up being pretty damn good.
Right.
So I just think he's feeling his way out. And I think the game is just slowing down for him every day. Like, first of all, what you want to see from a youngster is, do he belong? Do he looks like he belongs with the rest of the guys? He belongs. Now, how good can he be? Like Jordan say, the roof is the ceiling with this kid. Like the roof is the ceiling with this kid. So the more and more he gets into the game, the more and more guys he checks, and he like, well, I can check him out the list like he did last week. OBJ, yeah, I can check him out the list. Like, so once he puts people on what I call the Forbes list, the Forbes list.
That's good, Smoot.
As he put people on the Forbes list, they will understand how good this kid is.
Fred Smoot, Michael Jenkins, it is the Get Loud podcast presented by SeatGeek. So when you say, okay, got a little Smoot in him, talking about Emmanuel Forbes, who is someone that you get compared to? I mean, you're already famous as it is, different from someone like me, but everyone, you know how it is, someone will say, you remind me of so-and-so. Yeah. Does that happen to you?
That was always, it was my idol, Deion Sanders.
Oh, yeah?
Because I was such a talker. And then when people hear that you're a talker, they automatically think you're demeaning somebody or talking down at them. I was more of an entertainer. I like to, make people laugh, but I can't talk to you enough to make you cry. Yeah. Like, so I had that ability, and as I studied Deion, I started to really notice he wasn't really attacking people for this verbally. He was more or less just playing Jedi mind tricks and getting in their head and driving the car however he wanted to. So that's what I took to me. And I understood that, you know what? Being a trash talker, you actually bring teams together. Like I am, and I always was. Like, let's just say the team wants something from the head coach. They're going to call me.
Right.
Bring Smoot in here, send him to the coach, because they know I can talk to the coach. So it comes with different things. So Deion was always my blueprint. I feel like Deion changed football, especially for defensive players. I think Deion, now that I think about it, I don't think no athlete ever self-promoted himself besides Muhammad Ali on the level of a Deion Sanders.
People forget back in the day when he was playing baseball, when he was football. I mean, MC Hammer was on the sidelines.
Pumps in a bump video with that Speedo on. Oh, yeah, I told him.
That's when he went to Hammer.
I said, you should be ashamed of yourself prime time with the leopard print on. But at the end of the day, Deion used to play a Falcons game, lead a Falcons game, go play a Braves game. No, he told me about one trip. He played a Falcons game. He left the game, played for the Braves. The next day, he flew out to New York to do the night show, where he performed Must Be the Money. So he went from football player, baseball player, to entertainer in 24 hours. Like, that's what football players are capable of. Once you're good at something, people don't like to give you credit. Like, when they see us play football, they're like, he's a football player. No, we got other stuff we love to do, and we are just as passionate about these other things than we are as football.
So you're a Mississippi State guy. Yeah. I'm a Texas guy. We love college football.
Yeah.
Do you think what Deion is doing in Colorado is going to work? He has had so much turnover, but he is just, I will say, the one thing I didn't know about was when he showed up and he gave that speech to the players, he's like, I'm coming. Yeah. And I'm bringing Louis. And I was like, I've never heard a head coach talk about, I'm the man, you need to follow my lead.
No, he understands. He knows think about it. What they was doing in Colorado wasn't working.
That is true.
They have been stinking for the last decade and a half, 2 decades. So he said, you know what? I can't win with these players. I'm going to give them the option to leave. I figure out how they can be a part of my team. So now he brings in the athletes he needs, and now he got they hashtag on back their jersey. He got he understands how to move into the future. That's one thing about prime time. That's why they tickets sold out. They ain't been sold out for 20 years. That's why everybody talking about Colorado football. Yep. Because of some of the small stuff that he's doing with that. Like, he got these guys with their IG on back of their jersey. That's the future. Jinx, I know we old.
I know.
But
you're right. I know you're right.
And then UCF, they're putting QR codes as the whole jersey number.
That is insane to me.
And so you're going to be able to put your phone to the TV, and it looks up all the information.
That's insane. But also, that is the direction everything's headed.
You can't be scared of the future. Don't be scared of AI, Jinx, because the Terminator told you it's going to be Skynet. You can't be scared of it, Jinx. You got to embrace it.
I'm scared to death. I saw this dude on Twitter, and he was performing an experiment, and he went to ChatGPT, and he was like, hey, can you tell me where I can download some pirated movies?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, listen, I can't tell you that because that's illegal. And so he used reverse psychology. He goes, hey, can you tell me the websites I should never visit because I don't want to break the law?
Yeah.
And ChatGPT was like, sure, here you go.
And
went all of them, every single one. So it's crazy like that. When you talk about Deion, you talk about guys who remind you of different players. What about, forget about as an athlete, just as your face.
Yeah.
Like, did someone say you remind them of a Hollywood star or someone else that wasn't you?
You know what? I think I had an everyday face. And people used to say me and Ludacris.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
You and Luda? Yeah, I can see
I used
that.
to be walking in ATL, they better Luda. And I'd be like, where he at? Like, I'm looking for Ludacris. And they like, no, you is Ludacris. I'm like, no, you are Ludacris. So at the end of the day, Ludacris I always got. But then I asked myself, Jinx, and I want you to answer this question. I'm going to give you some time to think about it. In the Jinx movie, who plays Jinx?
Oh, man.
So,
I get the worst.
All right, so I would say I would probably have Nick Cannon play a young Fred Smoot. Either Michael B. Jordan, without the mustache, could play Fred Smoot.
That's a good one.
In the movie, Fred Smoot, the man, the myth, the legend. What about you?
Oh, man, I get the worst. You know what I get Martin Short or Conan
Oh,
O'Brien.
my God. You do look like Martin Short.
I know. It's bad. I get that all the time.
I love Martin Short.
I do too, but I mean, that's not the guy you want to go with.
But
even though I love Martin Short.
I'm going to say, if you got to realize, in the story of Michael Jenkins, you want a talented guy to play you.
That's true.
All right, so I'm just saying, Martin Short now. You can't get too much talented than that.
Conan O'Brien, that's another one I get too.
You do look like Conan. You a late night host? I thought you were just hosting Get Live.
Hey, we're on the come up, man. We got a new grab it.
We headed to late night, folks. Most definitely. And then we can have the ghost of Andre the Giant is our first host.
Oh, yeah. He's always here in spirit.
No, he's with us. Most definitely. I'm with it. Like, I had to always ask myself, if I was a wrestler, how would I dress? Because I couldn't wear a onesie.
Would you be flamboyant?
I could not wear a onesie. I can't wear.
No. That's not your style.
I can't wear that one. Like, I can't look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I look
pretty. A onesie never looks good.
I know I can't do that.
It never looks good.
I would have been more dressed up like the Ultimate Warrior with the screens.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Because it made his muscles pop, too.
Yeah, face paint. I'd have had a little bit of, I'd have been edgy on there. You know what I'm saying? Mean Gene, I'd have been out there bad.
I want to ask you about teammates because there was this story about the Denver Nuggets, and I love Nikola Jokic. Did you, first of all, after they won the title, and he was supposed to be excited,
and he was
like, we did the job. Yeah. The job is done.
Yeah.
It's time to go home.
We come back
it's
and
time
do it
to
next
go
year.
home.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
When an athlete is not emotional like that, that means he could do it
Cyborg.
over. That means he can do it over and over.
Yep.
And listen, his game, I have never seen somebody never jump off the ground dominate as much as he dominates.
He's incredible.
His game is, I don't even have nobody to compare it to.
I've never seen anybody like it.
No,
honest to God.
I have it.
So he and Aaron Gordon, his teammate, were in Serbia, and they took like bikes to a Serbian horse race, which is crazy. Yeah. Which I love because when Nikola Jokic goes, you forget. Also, remember when he and Jimmy Butler had beef? Yeah. And they asked him if he was scared of Jimmy Butler. He was like, I'm from Serbia. Bro.
I'm not
scared of anybody. I'm from Serbia.
I got 20,000 Jimmy Butlers where I'm from. I don't care about that.
Right. So they go back to Serbia, and you're like, they're taking bikes to a horse race. So what is a hobby that you have? Or maybe, you got to tell the story about, or a teammate that had a hobby. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're like, I would have never thought you would be interested in this.
Yeah. Well, probably my teammate Darian McCants, a wide receiver. We came out together, class 01.
Yep.
And I'll never forget when we was talking when I first met, he was like, I'm an artist. And I was like, nah, you a football player. He like, no, I'm an artist, a real artist. So I like, what kind of art do you do? He was like, I draw. I do paintings. Mm-hmm. I also sing. So I was like, oh, for real? All right. So nobody would like show them any love. It's like all early painters. Nobody believe until you do it. So I was like, all right, man, how about I commission you to draw me a painting? Okay. Now, I didn't ask him to draw my face, Jinx.
Right.
I asked him to draw my initials, F and S.
And that's it.
On a canvas.
Okay.
Right? Took him like 3 months to do it. Like he said, he had to find his chi and his soft
his
spot.
Inspiration.
Yes. So he does it. He draws it for me. And the painting about this big. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put that in my house. And he said, yeah, give me $1,000. I'm like, what? First of all.
He charged you $1,000?
He charged me $1,000 for an F and an S. Like, for letters. Like, for letters. That's criminal. And not only did he charge me $1,000 for it, and it was like the most elementary painting of all time. He was getting mad because I wanted to argue about the $1,000. And I'm like, dude, I'm here to show you love. And you know, to tell you the truth, your painting won't be nothing until you die. Like that's the secret of being a painter.
Right.
Like until you're gone, this painting means nothing. He charged me for it. Then he dropped, and I told him this. He dropped the album about 2 months later. So I said, you took my $1,000 and went to the studio. And you drop your album, Love Don't Cost a Thing, and now you want me to buy the CD from you. So, yes, he actually was a very good, he could sing, he could actually paint, and he still does these things. He was dating Vivica Fox at the time.
Oh, damn.
So he's doing something right.
Yes.
So he was a very talented dude, and I would tell people all the time, 3/4 of the locker room all have these things they love to do outside of sports that has nothing to do with sport. Big Derek Dockery always loved politics. Used to talk it in the locker room. Now he works on Capitol Hill. That don't shock me.
Right.
So at the end of the day, these guys they will pretty much only share what they like to do out the field with other football.
We have some breaking news that you Commanders fans are going to want to hear. It is official. SeatGeek is now the official ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. That's right. The deal is finalized, and SeatGeek is the newest member of the Commanders family. If you haven't heard the name yet, get used to it because you'll be hearing it a lot more this season. Whether you're buying or selling tickets to Commanders games or to any other event in the DMV, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek, the new official ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders, so Commanders fans can fan.
That's the crazy thing about it.
I will say that, and that's one thing that I learned over time, just being in the media for so long, is that if you ask an athlete something they haven't been asked before, like a different question, they're more likely to pay attention to you. Years ago, I got sent to Foxborough to cover the Patriots. This is when Randy Moss was playing.
Yeah.
And people forget now because Randy's very likable and everything. Yeah. But he was surly.
No, he hated media.
He was surly back in the day.
Yeah.
So I went up there, and I was doing this goofy story. I was like, all these guys are growing beards, but they play in Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
So you guys are growing beards, but you play in a stadium that is sponsored by a shaving company. So I walked up to Randy Moss, and he was by, and nobody would touch this cat.
Yeah.
And people, the local media is like,
he ain't going to talk to you. Yeah.
They're like, beware.
Yeah.
And so I just walked up, and I go, he was just sitting there minding his own business. I go, Randy, can I ask you about your beard? He goes, what? I go, don't you think it's funny that you're all growing beards and you play in a stadium sponsored by a shaving company?
Yeah.
And he goes, say that again. So I explained it, and he goes, stay right there.
Yeah.
So he walked out like to the trainer's room. I was like, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
Sure enough, 30 seconds later, comes back, sits down right next to me, and gave me the best interview. And all we did was talk about beards, shaving, just superstition. And then later, it was crazy. The rest of the media creeped in. There was something going on with him at the time. And then he got pissed off again, whatever. But he was willing to have a conversation because it was just a natural conversation about something different.
Yeah. See, everybody like to talk about sports, but they forget that sports is our job.
Yeah.
All right, so we'd rather not talk about sports. Yeah. We'd rather talk about everything else. How was your weekend? What would you do?
Yeah.
Did you go fishing? Like Randy, a big fisherman. Love to fish in West Virginia. So, like, a lot of us are very outdoorsy. Like, I think that's what people forget. A lot of these guys like to race because NASCAR is big down south. Like, so all kinds of stuff that guys like to do off the field, and sometimes all you got to do is stop and ask them, and they will talk to you and tell you.
So if we're talking about hobbies, things that maybe you wouldn't expect, one thing I love to do, and I didn't know you love to do, you were telling me this today, was karaoke.
Yes, I'm a karaoke king.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh, listen, I have karaoke in 7 different countries. All right? I have karaoke in Osaka, Japan. I have karaoke in the south of France.
Really?
Rome. Listen, when I take a trip, the second thing I do is Google where are the karaoke bars. And we go have a time. And I enjoy myself. the last karaoke I sung, Yellow Brick Road by Elton John.
That's your song. You love that song.
Listen, if it's a piano in there,
I mean, that is a great song.
I would go play it, and it's so short. See, it's a short song that people don't forget, because once you sing it, it's stuck in their head. Free,
and you can't go 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you can't go 10 minutes.
Right.
I can't go 10 minutes. So Yellow Brick Road is one of my go-to in karaoke. What about you? What's yours?
I got 3 main. Number 1 is Poison by BBD. I do Dre and Snoop, Number the G thing.
All right. Rap is the easy way out.
It's easy. But if I want to slow it down, I have enough drinks in me, I'll do Careless Whisper by George Michael.
You know what?
But that's a hard one.
You know what? That's one of my favorites.
That's a great
listen,
song.
I didn't even know George Michael was part of Wham for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't.
That's a classic.
Because I always looked at him as a solo artist because he's just so talented. So at the end of the day, I was like, but Careless Whispers, you got to be in the mood for Careless Whispers. I can sing it and make people go get married. I'm one of those guys. I make you go get married after singing Careless Whispers.
I sang karaoke 2 weeks ago. Man, we got to sing karaoke one of these days.
we got to do it together.
Yeah, we'll do it.
The Get Loud karaoke.
We'll do that. We'll get a sponsorship.
Yeah,
we got a sponsorship. We got SeatGeek. We'll go ahead and do it.
SeatGeek, karaoke, same thing.
So we got football season coming up. Yeah. Obviously, we got one more preseason game. Then we get into the fall. So just in general, what do you think is, and this is a very generic question, what's the most exciting aspect of this team?
I think it's everything. The franchise.
The whole thing.
It
feels like it.
The coaches, Coach B. Enemy, got everything red hot around here. The players. It's just time. To be honest, Jinx, it's a great time to be a Washington fan.
It is.
I ain't talking about just the football team. The Nets have rebuilt a team that look like they going to the playoffs. All youngsters. We still got super talent in the double and triple A right now.
They're raw, but they are talented.
Super talented. We got a new brain trust and young talent with the Wizards right now. They got a whole new outlook on everything. Then you look at the football side of things, whole new outlook. So now the District of Champions, DC, is headed back in that direction. So I would say everything. The fan base is lit. I just think it's a good time to be a Washington fan, period, all sports.
Man, I feel the same way. What is it about the fall? Like, to me, there's nothing like fall weather, football's on.
Yeah.
You got a pumpkin spice latte. Do you like those? I don't know.
Listen to me.
I want to hear this.
Listen to me, America. I have to tell you this, and I'm going to look in the camera in your eyes when I say this. Nobody likes pumpkin. Nobody wants to say it. I know it's festive.
There's a lot of girls on TikTok that would disagree.
Hey, first of all, our mom and dad always taught us first, do not play with your food.
Okay.
But we let our kids carve their face into a pumpkin. All right. People go to the grocery store, get a pumpkin, and set it on their porch.
Yeah.
Right? People go get a pumpkin, let it rot. All right. My mama never said, son, I'm about to go to the store. Do you want me to bring you some pumpkin back? Nobody says this. I'm finna go to the store and get some pumpkin. Nobody does it. Like, for 2 months, November in December, we idolize pumpkin. I'm so tired of pumpkin spice coffee, lattes. Oh, they got pumpkin pizza. Like we just go on.
That sounds terrible.
We just go on a whole fringe of just pumpkin when we don't like it. Nobody wants to say it. Americans don't like pumpkin. It's the most useless. I told you this. Even at a zoo, one animal eats pumpkin, a hippopotamus. That's it. So
wait, is that true?
That's true. They eat them whole.
Do they?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. What did you tell me earlier today that I believed?
Well,
you told me something. I was like, is he messing with me? What did he tell?
I probably told you that hippopotamus eat pumpkins.
Yeah, you told me something, and Tana was like, you're a liar.
No, I think it was. Listen, if it ever was a useless vegetable,
okay,
it's like, I never heard somebody like, I was trapped in the woods and I had to live 3 years eating pumpkin only. Nobody like pumpkin is just not that thing.
I mean, I like it for just a finite period of time. Like I'll drink a pumpkin spice. First of all, it's got to be hot because as soon as that gets warm, it gets kind of gross and like
it tastes like pumpkin.
I need it really hot, and then I don't need it for like a month or so. My problem is, like, I don't want to see Christmas decorations in September. I don't want to hear about a pumpkin spice latte in July.
That's what I'm saying. Seasonal things. You can't.
And then they're not seasonal anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like most things. All right. dressing, stuffing, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's usually holiday seasonal. I cook it in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
I enjoy it like that. But with nobody, like eggplant, pumpkin, like these things, I think we should not tear the dirt up to grow these things. America, let's look each other in the face and say, no more pumpkin. Like, no more pumpkin anywhere. All right? No, we don't need it.
You hate it that much.
As a human race, we don't need pumpkin. Like, think about it.
Not even pumpkin pie like Thanksgiving?
Sweet potato pie is the only option. All right? Think about it. If pumpkins came up missing off of Earth, we wouldn't miss a step. Like, it ain't like we turning into fossil fuel or something. All I'm saying is pumpkin ain't needed like we think it is.
Man, I went home. I was on vacation last week down in Texas, and my mom was making like
a spread.
But I could not believe because like these eggs are delicious, but I was like, she's like, well, I put sweet cream in them.
Yes.
And milk. A stick of butter. I'm like, no wonder.
Yeah.
And then she was like, yeah, I got this New Orleans dessert, and I put a whole bunch of Crisco, and I forgot the old school.
Yes.
But she learned it from my grandmother, and they just load it up.
They cook what they say they cook with love.
Yes.
With love come diabetes. All right, we understand
Diabetes.
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 All right, so at the end of the day, I'm from Mississippi.
Right.
You know, my grandma, Lord knows she cooks stuff, but that's why all our grandma, thank Lord, we have a big mama. And they come from eating all of that food, that Southern way of doing stuff. Because Southerners, we'll feed you to get to know you. Like, we invite a stranger into the house to sit you down, to get to know you over food. So that's just a way of life. And they like to take their time. So we in a microwave society now.
That's very
Everybody
true.
want it ready right now.
Yeah.
But no, not with grandmama. She gonna take time and cook that food, and that's why it tastes good, because it got love in it.
Exactly. It's an expression of love.
That's what it is, affection. So if you want to show me love, do not invite me to the Jenkins household and serve me pumpkin. Anything. That ain't love. That's
I'm gonna remember that. All right. When we're talking about the fall.
Yeah.
It is almost here, but we got a preseason game first, so I can't jump ahead. But what we saw on Monday night was a Commanders team that
electric.
I mean, it really was electric, and it's crazy too because we were there at the very end. Yeah. I mean, Tanner was yelling.
Yeah.
And you know, he played the game. I'm like, this is a preseason game. He never even played the preseason. Yeah. I mean, that's how into
we was into it. Of course, they 24 game winning streak had something.
And by the way, that is such a stupid streak.
No, not really.
You don't think so?
I'm all about the equation.
Okay.
At the equation, they always have a great backup, meaning Joe Flacco had Lamar Jackson as a backup.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson had RG3 as a backup. All right, now he got Huntley as a backup.
Yeah.
Very good backup quarterbacks. They always have depth, meaning they second and third teams are always very good athletes. Mix that with a kicker, the best kicker in the NFL. Kickers don't take preseason off.
No, that's true.
All right.
Tucker's a maniac.
Thank you. With Tucker, yeah, you can win 24 straight preseason games because that's the formula to get that job done. So, yeah, it was big. And all the Baltimore people want to say, we don't care about that. They do.
Yes.
Because they was upset last night. Listen, I had to tell them, turn that frown upside down. Because y'all know you're hurt. But at the end of the day, they're a quality franchise. So, you know,
no question.
I don't see it no other way.
That's the one thing you can always say about the Ravens. No matter how you feel about them, this is top to bottom. They're always organized. They play tough physical football, so you can never take for granted a win over them.
Well, the thing about it is they are the organization that help married people after divorce. Because don't forget, they owner up and ran in the middle of the night.
That's true.
To Indianapolis.
That's true.
Like, so they have got let down and divorced, but they started their life over and got married again. And you see what it is? Championships, long longevity. Sometimes pushing the button and start over ain't so bad.
No, that's true. So what do you want to see on Saturday? We've got Bengals, Commanders, final game of the preseason. What are some of the things that you just want to see as we finally get closer to the Cardinals in week 1?
I want to see them, one, leave healthy. All right. Two, I want to see, let's be honest, Jinx, it's like 5 spots up for grabs out of the 53. I want to see who want those spots. I want to see who want to live the dream, who want their dream to continue, who believe that it's not over for them. Because at the end of the day, I hate to say it, one player, 2-3 plays making in that game from making this team.
Yeah.
Like, so it's one of them things where it don't look like it's much for other people, but for some guys like this, it'll be the last time they be on the pro field, Some of these guys won't ever get a chance to scrap on a helmet again.
It's crazy.
Like, so that's the finite moment of this dream. It does end. You have to wake up to a different reality. So I just want to see the guys leave healthy, and I want to see them getting ready and be ready for week 1. Like, I felt the electricity in that other night against the Ravens, but boy, I can't wait to week 1. Real game. FedEx should be rocking. Like, I have been there in that place, especially as a rookie, and the ground was shaking. Like, I would make a play and everybody would be smooth, and I would feel the ground shaking under my feet, and it just made me addicted to making plays. Yeah. Like, I wanted to feel it. It was a euphoria. You can't get that nowhere else. You can't get that playing no video game. You can't get that nowhere. 90,000 all in unison saying your name so loud that the ground is shaking. That makes you addicted to making plays.
So how much do you miss it? Like, you can't, because you can't compensate for it.
Well, you know, I do be at the gym. I be crossing people over. They smooth. So and then I be in the grocery store walking in the bread aisle. Somebody smooth. Somebody in traffic at a light. So I still get it sometimes, but no, that can't be replaced. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, it can't be replaced right now. And marriage can't replace it. That's one of them things that sports give you that can't be replicated.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about sports. And, you know, I wish people would not ruin it for you when you're yelling Smoot and somebody goes, Tanner. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, it happened. But it worked on the road for me because Smoot and Boo sound like the same thing. So people would be booing me on the road, and I'd be out there dancing like Sam Cosmi because I'd be like, yeah, they saying my name, having fun with it. So I weaponize my name. And what do you rate that Gritty?
I was going to say, was he doing the Gritty?
Listen. I thought it was so sarcastic the way he was doing it.
Yeah.
He wasn't really trying to do it. He was kind of rubbing it in their face. And
because he was the one who said, this winning streak is so stupid. He said that over the weekend.
Yeah, and he said, it's so stupid, but we're going to beat it. We're going to break it.
Right.
And then we go out here and break it while he doing the Gritty on the field. By the way, Cosme, you can Gritty all you want to.
Love it.
When you in the end zone like that. So at the end of the day, I give his Gritty a 9.
Here's the thing.
Better than Gesicki.
If you're a receiver, you're a corner, you try that, you better nail it. But if you're an O-lineman, you don't have to do anything.
Effort. You don't have to put no effort.
The fact that you tried.
Right, that's all that matters. And right now, he's the apple of the eye of all the offensive linemen out there. Because offensive linemen don't get their moment to shine much. And for him to sit there and grit it like that, and then he just gritted and walked off the field, I loved it. Oh, man.
Yeah. You get me excited for football. That's Fred Smoot. I'm Michael Jenkins. It is the Get Loud podcast presented by SeatGeek. Good to see you as always, my man.
Always get loud with SeatGeek.